History, we are told, is a river, flowing relentlessly from the past to the present. But what if it is not a river, but a vast branching delta? What if, at any moment, a single pebble, a single decision, could divert the entire flow of human events into a new, unknown channel? We look to the past for comfort, for lessons, for a sense of inevitability. We see the colossus that was Rome, and we see its inevitable fall, an empire too vast, too corrupt, too decadent to survive. Its collapse in the West, in the year 476, is the traditional marker, the end of the ancient world, and the brutal, chaotic birth of the new. The ashes of Rome, scattered by barbarian kingdoms, would eventually, over centuries, provide the fertile soil for the Renaissance, the Enlightenment, and the modern era we live in today. But what if it were not inevitable? The fall was not a single event, but a death by 1,000 cuts, a slow decay spanning generations. Yet, even in its darkest hour, there were moments of defiance, moments of brilliance, moments where the tide almost turned. Our story begins in the year 457. The Western Roman Empire is a corpse, picked over by vultures. The Vandals, a Germanic tribe of brutal efficiency, hold North Africa, the breadbasket of the empire. They have sacked Rome itself just 2 years prior, a humiliation from which the city's pride and its economy never recovered. Gaul and Hispania are lost, carved up by Visigoths, Franks, and Suebi. The emperor in Italy is a puppet, his strings pulled by a barbarian general named Ricimer. The state is bankrupt. The army is a ghost, a collection of foederati, barbarian mercenaries, with no loyalty to the idea of Rome. Into this darkness steps one man, Julius Valerius Majorian, a soldier's soldier, a man described by his contemporaries as a true Roman, a throwback to the heroes of the Republic. He seizes the throne not through decadent lineage, but by the acclamation of the army, and he has one impossible goal: to restore the empire. He campaigns with ruthless energy. He pacifies Gaul. He crushes the Visigoths in Hispania. He rebuilds the Roman military, not with fickle mercenaries, but with disciplined, salaried legionaries. He reforms the tax code, attempting to cut out the corruption that choked the life from the state. He is the last great hope of the West, and he knows the one critical truth: to save Rome, he must retake Africa. By the year 460, he has done the impossible. He has gathered a massive invasion fleet at Portus Ilicitanus in Spain. 300 ships, provisions, and the best legions Rome has seen in a century, all poised to cross the straits and reclaim the granary of the empire from the Vandal king, Gaiseric. This is the hinge upon which history turns. In our reality, the story ends in tragedy. Gaiseric, a cunning foe, used traitors, Roman traitors. Before the fleet could ever sail, it was burned in its own harbor, a catastrophic, devastating act of sabotage. Majorian's dream died in that fire. His reputation shattered, his leverage gone. He was forced to make a humiliating peace. A year later, returning to Italy, he was arrested, tortured, and beheaded by his own puppet master, Ricimer. With him died the last hope of the Western Roman Empire. 16 years later, the final pathetic emperor, Romulus Augustulus, would be quietly deposed, and the West was no more. But what if? What if the plot failed? What if Majorian, a skilled general, had better intelligence? What if his Praetorian Guard caught the saboteurs, their torches still unlit? What if the traitors, perhaps paid by Ricimer himself, were found out, paraded, and executed? What if the fleet sailed? The first domino has fallen. The year is 461. The Mediterranean waters churn, not with the fire of burning Roman ships, but with the oars of a Roman armada. Gaiseric, the Vandal king, is now the one caught by surprise. He expected his network of spies and traitors to deliver him victory, as it always had. He did not expect to see the Aquila, the Roman eagle, flying on the masts of hundreds of warships descending upon the coast of Carthage. The battle is brutal, but decisive. Majorian's legions, battle-hardened from their campaigns in Gaul, are a different breed from the men the Vandals had faced before. These are not demoralized conscripts. They are an army with a purpose, loyal to a commander who leads from the front. Carthage falls within the month. The Vandal kingdom, a pirate state built on plunder, collapses. Gaiseric is captured, or perhaps flees into the deserts of Numidia, a broken man. North Africa, its ports, its workshops, and most importantly, its endless fields of grain, belong to Rome once more. The reaction across the Mediterranean is instantaneous. In Rome, which had been starving, the price of bread plummets. The annona, the ancient grain dole, is restored. Majorian, returning not in failure, but in a triumph not seen for 100 years, is hailed as Restitutor Orbis, the restorer of the world. He is an Augustus. He is a Trajan. This victory is more than symbolic. It is economic. The treasury, empty for a generation, begins to fill. With this new wealth, Majorian does not build palaces. He builds legions. He pays his soldiers, securing their loyalty not to a general, but to the imperium. His next move is inevitable. He turns his victorious army toward Italy. Ricimer, the barbarian kingmaker, sees the writing on the wall. In our history, he murdered Majorian. In this new world, he is the one who is cornered. He cannot fight this new, loyal, and powerful Roman army. He attempts to flee, but is captured by the Senate, eager to prove their own loyalty to the new Augustus. Majorian, showing the mercy that was not shown to him in our timeline, perhaps exiles him, or perhaps, in a clean break with the past, has him tried and executed for treason. The era of puppet masters is over. The emperor is, once again, the true ruler of Rome. The cascade effect begins to reshape the world. The Eastern Roman Empire in Constantinople, which had long viewed the West as a lost cause, now sees a rival, a resurgent, powerful sibling. Their relationship becomes one of cautious, calculated Cold War. The barbarian kingdoms in Gaul and Hispania, who were slowly building their own successor states, are now faced with a terrifying reality. The empire is back. Majorian and his chosen successors, for his dynasty is now secure, spend the next 100 years in a slow, grinding, but relentless campaign of Reconquista. The Visigoths in Spain, the Suebi, the Burgundians, they are not assimilated as they were in our world, fusing their culture with the Roman remnants. They are conquered. They are subjugated. They are either pushed back across the Rhine or reduced to the status of deditici, second-class subjects living on Roman land. The cultural fusion that defined the Middle Ages, the blend of Roman law, Christian faith, and Germanic warrior culture, never happens. There is no Clovis converting to Catholicism to unite the Franks and Romans. There is only Clovis, a tribal chieftain, being crushed by the imperial Roman legions. There is no Holy Roman Empire under Charlemagne. There is only the Roman Empire. The Dark Ages are cancelled. Let us move forward in time. The year is 1000. In our world, this is the height of the feudal era. A fragmented landscape of petty kings, dukes, and counts, each ruling their small fiefdom through a complex web of oaths and loyalty. Knights in armor joust in tournaments, and Viking longships terrorize the coasts. In this new reality, the world of 1000 is one of order, one of uniformity. The Imperium Romanum Occidental stands, a mirror to its eastern sibling in Constantinople. Its borders are secure, stretching from the sands of the Sahara to the cold forests of Germania, from the Pillars of Hercules to the plains of Pannonia. The barbarians are a persistent, low-level threat on the frontier, much like the Persians and later the Caliphates were for the Byzantines. The Church, based in Rome, is a powerful institution. But the Pope is not a sovereign pontiff, not a rival to kings. He is the Patriarch of the West, and he answers, ultimately, to the Emperor. The divine right of kings is secondary to the divine right of the Emperor. This Caesaropapism, the fusion of state and church under the Emperor, defines this new West. This world is stable. It is prosperous. The Roman roads are maintained. The aqueducts flow with clean water. The Mediterranean is a Roman lake, the Mare Nostrum, our sea, free of pirates, its trade routes bustling. Literacy is high, at least among the administrators and the elite. Roman law is the only law, but there is a terrible, chilling silence. Where is the innovation? The system that has been saved is the late Roman dominate, a rigid, centralized, bureaucratic, and deeply conservative social structure. It is a system built on vast latifundia, great estates worked by a populace tied to the land, not quite slaves, not quite free. In our world, the chaos of the fall broke this system, eventually giving rise to a new merchant class, to independent cities, to guilds. Here, there are no independent cities. There is no Hanseatic League. There is no Republic of Venice. They are all simply Roman municipalities, their taxes and trade dictated by the prefectus sent from Rome or Ravenna. Why innovate? Why invent a new labor-saving device when you have a permanent, entrenched underclass to perform the work? Why challenge the established order when to do so is not just heresy, but treason? The Renaissance, our rebirth, was a rediscovery of classical knowledge that had been lost and was being brought back by scholars fleeing a falling Constantinople. In this world, that knowledge was never lost. It was preserved, but it was preserved in amber. It is the dogma of the state. To question Ptolemy's astronomy or Galen's medicine is to question the ancient, imperial-sanctioned veritas, truth. We stand in the year 1492. In our timeline, a Genoese navigator named Christopher Columbus, funded by the newly unified Kingdom of Spain, sails west to find a new route to the Indies. He is a product of a world of intense, fractured competition. Rival city-states, rival monarchies, all seeking an edge. In the world of the Imperium Perpetuum, the Eternal Empire, 1492 is just another year in the long, glorious reign of Emperor Theodosius IV. Spain does not exist. There is only the Roman Diocese of Hispania. Italy does not exist. It is the heartland of the empire. Christopher Columbus is a merchant captain, plying the safe, known routes between Alexandria and Ostia. The Atlantic is a terrifying, unknown void. And why would anyone fund such a reckless journey? The empire's gaze is inward, maintaining order, and eastward, where it faces its only true rival, the Eastern Roman Empire, and the expanding caliphates in the deep desert. There is no incentive for exploration. There is no curiosity. The New World remains undiscovered by Europeans. The printing press, a revolutionary tool of dissent and mass communication, it is either never invented or it is immediately suppressed, declared a state monopoly to be used only for printing imperial decrees and approved, safe, classical texts. Martin Luther? If he arises, he is not a revolutionary. He is a heretic, swiftly and efficiently silenced by the Frumentari, the imperial secret police. This is the world that Rome has built. A world without a dark age, yes, but also a world without a Renaissance, a world without an Enlightenment, a world without the scientific revolution. It is a world suffocated, a global, stagnant, gilded cage. The modern era, in all its chaotic, creative, and dangerous glory, has been strangled in its cradle before it could even be born. One single moment, one plot that failed, one fleet that sailed. This is the legacy of the what if. We are forced to look back at our own chaotic history, a history of collapse, of plague, of brutal, dark ages. And we must ask an uncomfortable question. Was the fall of Rome, in all its fire, blood, and loss, a terrible tragedy? Or was it a necessity? Was the collapse of that ancient, rigid world the only thing that could have cleared the ground? Was the Dark Age not an ending, but a long, painful, and necessary incubation, a crucible that had to burn down the old, so that something new, something different, something modern, our world, could finally, agonizingly, be born from the ashes? But this is only one possibility. What do you think would have happened if Rome never fell? Let your own theory be known in the comments. If you enjoy exploring the infinite realities of what if, subscribe to our channel and activate the bell, because history is never truly finished.